On July 1st, Vanity Fair released an interview with Noah Hawley. Longtime watchers of Midnight's Edge will remember him as one in a long line of directors to be attached to producer J.J. Abrams' Star Trek IV that never happened, though the industry likes to refer to him as the showrunner of Fargo. He is, however, also the showrunner for Disney's own upcoming Alien TV series, and he spoke about that in the Vanity Fair piece. In this editorial, then, I will go through what Hawley said, what his plans for Alien appear to be, and why long-term fans of the Alien franchise might object to those plans. The Vanity Fair writer obviously knew Hawley's intention for his Alien series in advance, because he set it all up with "Eat the rich." That's not a bad premise for a new iteration of Alien. But most of the time, the series about hyper-predatory extraterrestrials has focused on working-class heroes. Ridley Scott's 1979 original focused on cosmic merchant marines who discover wreckage with deadly cargo aboard, while James Cameron's 1986 sequel, Aliens, was about actual marines whose rescue mission turns into an operation to capture the fiends. Whether it's David Fincher's prison colony in the third film, or the Mercenaries of 1997's fourth movie from director Jean-Pierre Jeunet, it's always the workers and the underclass facing the acidic wrath of the creatures. Maybe there's a capitalism metaphor inherent in the series. Oh wow. You know how these days there is a seminar going on which is devoted to highlighting the diversity and inclusion in the writings of Tolkien. There, a bunch of scholars who are activists first will be presenting their papers on how they've been able to read things which aren't there into the works of Tolkien. The purpose of this exercise is presumably to give Amazon cover to claim that their current year activist-friendly Lord of the Rings series somehow is true to the works of Tolkien, even though it by all accounts will be no such thing. I bring that up because this article appears to be exactly the same as that. This is Vanity Fair trying to read a message that wasn't there into the Alien franchise. More specifically, that it was always fundamentally about rich capitalists taking advantage of the workers of the world, who by implication need to unite. To be clear, within the subtext of some of the movies, there was indeed an element of how the haves are willing to sacrifice the have-nots. But that's not what any one movie, let alone the whole franchise, fundamentally was about. Vanity Fair, trying to delude readers into thinking that they were, strongly suggest that that is what this new series will be all about, and they're preemptively trying to justify it. After Vanity Fair has set the stage for him, Hawley himself states, "What's next for me, it looks like, is an Alien series for FX, taking on that franchise and those amazing films by Ridley Scott and James Cameron and David Fincher." That's quite an overt slap in the face of Jean-Pierre Jeunet right there. Guess Hawley doesn't find his film Alien Resurrection to be all that amazing. To be fair, neither does anyone else, but even so, bad form to single him out by a mission like that. Hawley then continues, "Those are great monster movies, but they're not just monster movies. They're about humanity trapped between our primordial parasitic past and our artificial intelligence future, and they're both trying to kill us." Yeah, I'm not so sure that's what those movies are about. If anything, that statement reminds me of when Paul Feig thought that the original Ghostbusters was just a random comedy to showcase the talent of the hottest comedians of the day, instead of what it actually was, namely a story about entrepreneurs fighting bureaucracy against a supernatural backdrop. A backdrop which both Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd were beyond passionate about. But Paul Feig didn't understand that. So his remake was all about showing off the improv skills of who he considered the hottest comedians of the day. If Noah Hawley, in all seriousness, thinks that Alien is about humanity being trapped between our primordial parasitic past and our artificial intelligence future. I don't consider that a good start, let alone a worthwhile metaphor. Don't even get me started on that parasitic past drivel, and it was just in the first movie that an AI actually tried to kill. If you recall, the androids were actually quite sympathetic from James Cameron's Aliens and onwards. The only one with any kind of AI obsession is Ridley Scott, and even for him, it did not become a central theme until his misguided and ultimately aborted prequel series of films. If Hawley has taken any kind of lessons from Ridley Scott on this matter, which it appears he has, well, then I think we're on shaky ground here. In terms of progress, Hawley says, "I've written a couple of scripts, the first 2 scripts, and we're looking to make them next spring." Then Vanity Fair asks, "Is there anything else you can share about it? Is it part of the Ripley story, or will it be original characters in a different time and place?" To which Hawley answers, "It's not a Ripley story. She's one of the great characters of all time, and I think the story has been told pretty perfectly, and I don't want to mess with it." I'm in complete agreement with that answer. The only one who should do anything with the Ripley story is Neil Blomkamp, whose proposed Alien movie we never got is the one Alien movie we really should have gotten. In fact, he is the one Disney really should have reached out to set up this Alien series. But Hawley is their pick, so let's see what else he has to say. It's a story that's set on Earth also. The Alien stories are always trapped. Trapped in a prison. Trapped in a spaceship. I thought it would be interesting to open it up a little bit, so that the stakes of what happens if you can't contain it are more immediate. Here I feel it should be noted that the characters that the audience empathize with being trapped is why those movies work. Set the aliens free on Earth, and that entire dynamic changes drastically. And if that change works, depends entirely upon the execution. Can Noah Hawley pull off such a change and make it work? Maybe he can, but based on his other statements, I need convincing. Vanity Fair does not make it any better by adding, "Deadly things that can't be contained and the whole world at risk" sounds relevant to the past year. If that's what they're going with, then it sounds to me like this will be hopelessly dated before it's even released. But then, we get into the real heart of the matter. And we know that this is indeed the heart of the matter, because this is what the entire Vanity Fair piece has been setting up from the very first paragraph. Hawley says, "On some level, it's also a story about inequality. You know, one of the things that I love about the first movie is how 70s a movie it is, and how it's really this blue-collar space trucker world in which Yaphet Kotto and Harry Dean Stanton are basically waiting for Godot. They're like Samuel Beckett characters, ordered to go to a place by a faceless, nameless corporation. The second movie is such an 80s movie, but it's still about grunts. Paul Reiser is middle management at best. So, it is the story of the people you send to do the dirty work." Vanity Fair then inquires, "How does that relate to your series?" To which Hawley responds, "Here it comes. In mine, you're also going to see the people who are sending them. So you will see what happens when the inequality we're struggling with now isn't resolved." Ah, there we have it. This is what Disney's Alien is ultimately about. This is why they hired Bad Robots would-be Star Trek IV director, instead of someone whose sensibilities actually would lend themselves to Alien. They haven't said the word, but they have circled around it and highlighted it nonetheless. Disney's Alien is all about the one buzzword implied but not spoken: equity. Emphasizing that, Hawley concludes his comments on Alien by stating, "If we as a society can't figure out how to prop each other up and spread the wealth, then what's going to happen to us?" Note how he said "we as a society." Not our elected officials, not our corporate overlords, but we have to figure out how to share our wealth. In that context, we means you. You, Pleb need to be shamed into sharing your wealth. You, who live from paycheck to paycheck, you need to share that paycheck. Whenever someone demands something of we as a society, then you are the one it is being demanded of. In the name of equity, Disney calls on you to share whatever wealth you may have, because you can rest assured that Disney and other corporations like it will do no such thing. For the sake of us in the future, that is your sacrifice to make. Based on this Vanity Fair article, that appears to be what Disney's Alien will have as one of its main themes. Let me know how excited you are for Disney's Alien, brought to you by Noah Hawley, in the comments.